Hi everyone! I've got this very nice package in the mail and it's a very safe one. We need a fingerprint to open it. Let's try again. I think it needs more steps to open, so let's try again. Come on. There you go. It's full of paper. Yay! Weird fingerprint boxes. At least they smell nice. So I think it's a mummy of a photographic machine. 10 kilometers of paper later, and it's a very pretty one. Wow. Yeah, this is a pretty mummy. So the shutter is stuck and we will need to take a closer look at what's working and what's not working. So let's first get rid of all this paper and take a look at it. So the customer sent me this machine. He said the shutter is stuck, can't do anything to it. So we will try to see if we can unstuck the shutter and make this camera great again. So let's have a look inside. Everything is looking nice. The light isolation foaming looks pretty good. And let's have a look at the battery compartment. It has some minor leakage just on the stickers. Down there by the terminals, everything is looking fine. Maybe you can't see, you can see that the terminals are looking pretty good down there. So let's pop some batteries in and see what it does. So this first one will always get recessed under there, and this is the second one. So I've already heard the flash charging. And now I can't turn the machine on. Yeah, but nothing happens. So we can turn it on, but I think there are no signs of life. Nothing. Even the timer. Yeah, we turn it on, nothing happens. Even the timer is not turning on. Nothing is happening in the machine. So yeah, we'll have to open it up. Let's do it. So the most mysterious screw is already out. The other ones are a lot easier. Okay, first part is off. Yeah, contrary to the other one we had on the channel, these two springs are in place, so everything looks okay regarding the counter mechanism. So what we have problems here is with the shutter, so it will come off anyway. Okay, yeah, this bit of metal is slightly bent, so there's something we should address later. But now that the electronics are exposed, let's wear some gloves and try to discharge the flash capacitor before we get shocked. We have one thing here, it's the timing mechanism, it's broken. The screw rotates, but the mechanism is completely shattered. So that's something we will have to try to fix. I've discharged the capacitor. It made some sparks, but unfortunately I wasn't recording. So yeah, but I didn't get shocked, so it's not worthy of YouTube. I can see that this has a different timer mechanism here on the top, and that our shutter mechanism is not allowed to move because of something. So I must try to find what is jamming our shutter. Usually there's a solenoid down here, but I'm not entirely sure. So here we have some contacts full of dirt under here that we will have to clean, but they're probably working. So we need to find why this thing is completely locked. I'll put a new double-sided tape on the capacitor because feeling it rattling around is making me nervous. Yeah, maybe this is stuck in a position where it needs to pull the film forward and it doesn't release the shutter because it couldn't pull the film forward. Maybe it will need some power. Let's check. But now I'm afraid because there's the flash and I need to hold it right with my hands on the capacitor and I don't feel comfortable. Yeah, the camera is not turning on and is not working anything. So it might be a major problem with some motor or something. Yeah, I need to hook it to the bench power supply and see if we have, yeah, the contacts are okay. Yeah, we need to see if we have any power consumption beyond the capacitor, being charged. So yeah, because there's no other noise, there's nothing regarding the motors, or anything else. Yeah, the only thing I got sound of was the charging capacitor, and I'm not getting anything about the rest. Okay, capacitor charged. Let's try to hold it like this. I heard the capacitor charging. This is the part I don't understand fully, but this thing should turn the machine on and it should work somehow, but it's not doing anything. It should be doing some kind of noise of film pulling or something, or maybe I will need to put a film in it, but I don't see the need in this model. There's something else wrong. And the camera is not turning on, so we will need to check whether the power is getting or not into its destination. I just hope that the autofocus mechanism is working. It's not like the other one. So let's find a way to hook it up to a bench power supply, and I think that will make it easier to test. So I'll glue this capacitor here to the top. That one is the positive and this one is the negative. The negative is very easy to access, but the positive is over there. So I'll prefer to find an alternative place around here or under the machine like I did before, and then and then power it up from the bench power supply. So we grab the multimeter in continuity mode and let's check for an alternative point to connect our power. Probe on the positive, and yep, there's this red wire, there's this power connection. Wait a moment. We shouldn't have power there. I don't know. So both contacts that should turn on the machine are giving continuity to the positive terminal. Do we have a short? Or it's something to do with a timer? No. Okay, this is a 0.2 ohm resistor. I don't think that's a problem. So if those two are already in continuity, there might be something wrong. You know, there's a switch in here, I think. Let's check. Nothing. Nothing. Two ohms. So yep, we have no power to the motor that pulls the film, but I'm not really understanding Why is that thing giving continuity between those 2 points? Let's try to straighten this thing first. Yep, it looks better. Maybe it was even a bit too much, but it's okay. Now the front case should slide in and out a lot easier. So let's unstuck the capacitor, and yeah, it's a lot better. Now it doesn't mind when coming off. So that's one of the things. And now we can see there the mechanism for turning on and off the machine. So yeah, this thing should go there and pull that metal pin down. Yeah, there's that small metal pin being pressed against the other and should give continuity and turn the machine on. But the thing is, it's not seeing that signal, because even with this thing completely off, it's giving us continuity. So there's a power problem there, and we will need to find out what's going on. Contrary to the other model, there's nothing dependent from contacts around here, so we can operate the machine without the front cover. On the other one we had to solder some wires, but this one has a different problem, so we need to check. Okay, so the thing that's locking the shutter is that mechanism there. And when that mechanism is free, the shutter can go up and down, but we need to pull this mechanism with a motor from the inside. So I think that will be the main cause of this issue, but I don't want to hook this up to a bench power supply without being sure that I'm not giving it power to a short or something. So let's continue to investigate. Well, I think I found something. This blue thing here, I think it's a switch, and when we activate the mechanism to rewind the film, this thing should activate something up in here, but as you can see, this lever is acting free, so there is no action on anything when the lever is pressed. So I think we have a problem with any kind of switch or something around here in the top, and maybe we will have to disassemble all this top thing. Another hell of a job. And this has 3 pins, and I think it is a switch, or it was a switch, and that might have something to do with the motor inside there, because these 3 wires come here and these big tracks go under there. Maybe I'm just puzzled by the thing of this lever not having anything to act up there, and because when we give it power, we have no motor action. I can do a different thing. I have multimeter probes that I can use on the bench power supply, and I can give it a brief touch of energy and see if there is some major power consumption. So if I'm quick enough, probably nothing will blow up, and if nothing blew up with the batteries, it will probably not blow up with the bench power supply as well. So 12 volts DC on the power supply. No, I'm kidding. Okay, 3 volts, 1.5 per each battery, and I'll connect the positive probe there. Ooh, I heard the flash capacitor charging up, and it was drawing 3 amps. Let's check. 1.0, 0.6, 0.4. Yeah, the camera is drawing some power, but it's 0.2 amps. So yeah, maybe everything is okay, and there's just not power to the motor. Yeah, it's getting a bit late today, so I'll relax a bit, and tomorrow we'll get back to this with a fresh mind. A fresh mind works better than a tired one. So let's shut things off and have a good night of sleep. See you soon. So this is the next day, and I left the machine overnight with the capacitor charged. I was checking, it has discharged overnight, so we are safe to work on it. And what I'm going to do now is to disassemble this part, because that's where I think that our problem is. So, okay, these 3 wires are free now. Take out, and that screw is not looking very good. It looks like someone has been screwing over there before. Yeah, that doesn't look good. So let's see. Okay, it comes out. Okay, all this assembly is loose now. What I need is a bit of strength. Okay, there we go. That screw was missing, and now I can see that here everything is okay. This was the part that was broken on the other machine, and in here it's looking good with both springs in place. So let's put this aside and investigate what's going on here. Okay, here we have the switch. It's fully pressed. That's why we have continuity on both sides, but it's fully pressed by this part. So it might be correct after all, and this is the part that's actuated by the motor. Okay, this is, and why is this thing pressing on the switch? Okay, and this thing should actuate the switch when this thing is not pressing on it. So maybe we went down a rabbit hole, and we've found a very healthy rabbit in the end. Or I don't know the expression, but what would you say if you go down a rabbit hole and you find nothing interesting down there? I don't know exactly how this switch operates, but it looks to be constantly pressed, and if I depress it, it clicks, and if I press this, yeah, it will click on this one. I wish I knew more things. And not feeling like a dumbass. This is the time where I'm not putting stuff in shot, and I'm going crazy over this. So let me check this switch. Okay, switch is clicking, everything seems to be working fine. Let's check for continuity. So now there should be continuity between the middle pin and one of the others. Nope. Still continuity on the outer pins. Okay. Weird thing, when the switch is pressed, there should be continuity between both the outer pins and the middle pin, and I've never seen a switch to do that. But when I was measuring before, there was no continuity between the outer pins and the middle one, which means the switch was not fully pressed. Is it something to do with that? So this spring always pulls this mechanism to touch the switch. This will also operate the switch when this mechanism is not acting on it. There's some kind of slight jamming here, and I don't know why, but there is. Let me put the switch back again and see one thing. So there's our switch. That lever will operate when forwarding or rewinding the roll, the film. And now we have continuity between the outer pins and the middle one. And I remember measuring before, and there was no continuity between the outer pins and the middle one. So this is all shorted now. Is this some way to send power somewhere? I don't know, but I measured this lots of times before and there was no continuity. So now there's continuity. But I'm always afraid to see continuity in all pins in a switch. Usually that means there's a short somewhere. Should I reassemble this and turn it on to see if there was just a bad contact inside the switch? If it was just a bad contact inside the switch, it will be very anticlimactic, but if it works, I'm happy. I don't think this thing was working correctly before, but now it is. Well, if this thing gets fixed, we will never know if it was the switch or these contacts, or both. And we have contact between these two. When we close the door, those contacts are broken. I think I saw this thing stuck before and not working this well. Well, it might be just the wheel, but let's see if we have two overimposed faults. Let's continue. So this thing is making contact when it's in the S position, but when I leave it for the other positions, it stops making contact. And this is to activate the motor to pull the film for the first positions. So that's why I was seeing that thing being on constantly. Yeah. We are chasing after the wrong. We are going after the wrong problem, I think. But there's still continuity on the switch that was not there before. So maybe it's really something in that switch. So that's our main bet for now. Okay, I'll grab the bench power supply and apply power to the battery terminals to see if we have any sounds of life. So 3 volts. Yes, we have. Okay. We have progress and we have motor action now. So let's see again. It's counting pictures, one after the other. So why is it not stopping? So now we have to be careful because this capacitor might be energized again. And why is it shooting continuously? This is not in the rewind position, in case you're wondering. Now it's in the rewind position. Let's see what happens. Nothing. We just hear the capacitor recharge. Yeah. Oh, this light is on and showing us that the capacitor is fully charged, but also that the machine is ready to shoot, maybe. But we need power for it to shoot, and I'm a bit afraid of doing this, but let's see if I can give it good power. Nope, we don't have. No way. This is scary. You see, there is a ginormous voltage there and a lot of microfarads, and that will shoot into my fingers. But yeah, the machine should not be on without this thing being pressed. That's something that's concerning me. And now this is in the rewind position, or this was in the rewind position. And the machine was not working. Nope. It pulls some current. So at least we know that the motor, it's not dead. This thing is back into its original position. So let me check for continuity in the button again. Still there, still there. Whoa! We saw a flash. So I might pull this thing down, but now I don't have that much space. It's always shooting continuously. Now that's another problem. that we need to solve. But at least it should somehow. So we now have progress, but it's not a very useful one. So we've seen the flash go off. More weird things happening to this camera, or more things happening within this camera. Yeah, but this thing always rotating and shooting, that's not normal. So there really was a problem within this switch, and I think that thing rotating on his wheel might be, or that thing that was that cam that was rotating freely, it's not stopping in the right position, and this thing keeps rotating over and over again. It might be related to that. So we might as well take this thing all apart again on this part, and we need to go further down to see what's wrong with that cam. Yeah, that cam was rotating freely, and that might be the answer to this problem. So disassembly time again. Well, I've been looking for pictures of this camera, and I've been watching some videos of people doing unrelated repairs, and I can't find anything about this section up here, that I still think that the cam should be pulling back, or I still think that this part should be pulling back into this kind of cam or something. But I've seen that this shutter mechanism should stay fixed to the right side and should release when we press the shutter button. So if I pull this to the right side fully and I leave it, it comes back. It doesn't stay fixed there. So when this mechanism is fully pushed to the right, our shutter button is now more or less free to activate, but I think it will only activate when the electronics of the camera will let it go. But I noticed that this small part here is the one that latches when this thing is fully to the right. Okay, if I pull everything to the right and I pull this by hand, the mechanism stays there. Okay, and then this shutter button is free, but I think it will only shoot when the electronics will let it. So I was looking to this part, and I've seen that this here is a catch for a spring, and I thought, okay, let me look at pictures of this mechanism again, and I went online. So I've discovered that there's a spring missing between this catch, this screw, and here, and this spring will make this action of locking this mechanism, and if this is pulled down, the mechanism goes back to the start, and I think the motor is actuated again. This thing should latch and hold it until we shoot. So I don't know where the freedom of the shutter should come from, but I think it needs to have power to activate. So yeah, we need to find a way to put a spring in here, or we will need to create our own spring, because yeah, this is probably an obtainium, and yeah, of course we want to have this camera fixed. So let's see what we can do about it. I know that's a spring very similar to this one, but with a smaller loop, and it should stay more or less in here. So yeah, thank you. So I will see if we can reassemble the camera and then make a new spring, because yeah, when we are making the new spring we need to check if everything is okay. So I will need this part reassembled to check the camera functioning. So yeah, let's abort fault finding on this section, because I think now that the switch is working, I think now everything is okay. And let's concentrate on building a spring for this mechanism. Yeah, let's go. But now this raises a good question. Where did the original spring go? It's nowhere inside the case, and I don't remember seeing a spring when we disassembled the camera. Just remember seeing this thing broken. Let's reassemble everything, and I'll stick this thing manually to see if the camera winds and stops. How should we power this thing? Batteries or bench power supply? I think the bench power supply is safest. So let's grab the probes. 3 volts on the power supply. I need some light. Okay, let's see. Nothing. So if there's nothing, I'll probably need to press the power button. Let me check if I can do this one-handed. Yes, and it charged the flash. Can I shoot? Oh, it shooted once, and it's now winding forward because this is not latching. I think we are in the right way. So let's find a way to latch this thing manually and to give it power, so it shoots and stops. We are in the right way. I'm sorry if I'm always showing the camera upside down, but that's how I'm working. So good news. I need to make a spring for it. It's going to be hard, but I'll try to find something where I could gather a spring from. Oh, that's a relief. I'm sorry for the background music and for the background noise from the bench power supply, but there's a fan on the power supply that I need to turn on every time it pulls some amps, like charging the flash or something, otherwise it will hit. So sometimes you will hear some weird background noises, but yeah, noob amateur YouTube channel, please bear with that. So let's make the spring. So if you have been watching this far, I think you deserve to see a spark. So let's do it. Hehehe. You can see how chicken I am with these things. Been holding the resistor with the pliers. So yeah, I'm a chicken for capacitors. But I've never been shocked, and better to be safe than sorry. So sorry about my voice, but I found a similar spring in an old cassette mechanism, and we will try to adapt it to the camera. Let's do it. Okay, so now we have a bit of steel that can be used to do springs on that machine. So this length here is perfect. This one we will probably have to cut it, and I'm hoping that I can stretch the loop a bit in order to fit the screw diameter. Oops. I don't know any easy way to unwind a spring, but this one might work. Yeah, we are getting there. Yeah, it's something like this. But this part is too long. But as you can see, it will go over that catch and make the latch work to secure the mechanism. So now I will need to cut about 5 millimeters to the point of this spring. Oh, this was easy. Doesn't want to stay under the screw. Let's try to force it. Okay, let's hope it stays there. But now the mechanism latches and doesn't come up. So now I think we can put our batteries in and see if it works. But with these machines, it's always hard to make this contact. Maybe I will try to have a piece of tape. Yes, it did 3 clicks, which means it wound up the film. And now you can do something like this. You saw the red light Not sure this thing is shooting, but at least we have a working mechanism. And the spring came out again. Yeah, maybe this is with too much tension, but now, oops. Yeah, as you can see, the continuous shooting is a problem solved with this spring. Nice, we've learned something. So let me take the batteries out and do some adjustments to the spring. Maybe this is the final shape for the spring. I hope I can bend the tip of it for it to be correctly located there, but it's going to be hard. Yeah, maybe that will do. Of course, we still need to glue the glass and repair the timer button. That's going to be another challenge, but we need to use this case because maybe it's not shooting because of the shutter adjustment not being present. What? Yeah. I was trying to disassemble this part, but as soon as I touched it, the timer button went through. It's completely knackered. So we will try to make another new piece like this on the 3D printer to repair the timer button. And now we can put this thing back just to see if it works as well as I think it will. Sorry, but meanwhile the memory card got full, but I finished reassembling the camera. I've put my batteries in, but when you have the button here, it's mechanically locked when this is turned off. That's probably to prevent the machine from being shut when it's off. So when we have the machine disassembled, you can probably shoot some pictures without having the machine on. But yeah, now when you turn the machine on, it shoots and it unwinds and it counts. And there's the autofocus needle. Let me shoot away. It moves, but it doesn't move all the way to the right. Maybe we need to check or clean something. But yeah, when stuff is close. Oh, it detected the flash. Yeah, sorry. Sorry that I've blinded you all. But yeah, look at that. Waiting for the flash to charge. Light is on. The machine is working. We just need to do some minor adjustments. But yeah, let's see if it really shoots. Now I'm blind. Okay, now I've seen the shutter work. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe it's a bit hard. Let me just put the machine the right way. No, you just see the light. One feature that these machines have is because they are very noisy, you can shoot in a quiet place, and if you keep the button pressed, they don't wind the film until you depress the button. So let's test that. Shh. Yeah, it works like that. Very nice feature. So let's put a roll of film just to test if everything is pulling correctly. But yeah, we have fixed our problems with this very nice camera. So let's do the timer piece and the final touches to make this camera great again. So let's go. So I've put a roll of film inside, did some shootings, and I'll test the rewind function. So I'll pull this thing, I press here, and you can see it's quickly unwinding the film. So let's see if I can stop it. No. Oh yes, it left me with a little tip of film if I need to pull it out, because this is the detection button, and when the film ends it detects that there's no more film and stops unwinding. Yeah, so the whole functionality of the machine is working perfectly. On this camera it's very easy to load the film. You just pull it and pull it over these two sprockets, yeah, like this, and close the lid, do a shooting. It will take 2 or 3 pictures, go to the one position, and there you go. It's completely working. I'll go outside and do some more testing on the autofocus function. Be right back. So I took the machine apart again, and our spring seems to be working. But then again, like on the other machine, we have small trouble with the autofocus, because it can't detect when you're pointing away to a landscape. I'm starting to think that these are like the Game Gears or something. That's, yeah, the screens are getting old and you can't do anything about it. So our spring might be interfering. Our spring might be interfering with the autofocus function. Let me point away. Yes, it was. So our spring was screwing the autofocus function. I'll need to make it a bit lighter for it not to interfere too much with this thing that latches the focusing of the lens. So that's another thing to bear in mind when we are repairing these things, that this spring doesn't catch too much on this mechanism. So I'll try to straighten the spring a bit more. In order to make it less springy. No. Let's see now. Okay. Oops. Yeah, it came off. Yeah, we need to find a nice balance between strength and getting held in the place so it doesn't come off every time you shoot. Well, the guys who designed these things had a lot of patience and knowledge, of course. So this spring needs some adjustments, but as I want to turn it against the machine, I should take it out and change it outside, but I'm afraid to deform it even more. Yeah, this is something that should be done carefully. But every time you... okay, that was easier. Sometimes I panic too much about stuff. So I'll make it like this, and I'll make it softer so it doesn't act with the autofocus. I'll turn this one to the inside as well. Okay. So this is up close. I'll point away and shoot. Yeah, it was okay until the mechanism got stuck. Yeah, okay, the power was intermittent. We need to latch it manually, otherwise it will go crazy and it will get stuck again. So now we need to find a way to hold the spring in place, because the machine is working. Maybe I can pull a bit more spring out. Or maybe I can put the new spring, sorry about the focus, or maybe I can put the new spring underneath the other one that's there, and that will give me an extra locking place for the spring. So I just need to see if that's possible, and I think it will. Let me just... yes. So now the new spring is held under the spring for this focusing mechanism. Oh, okay. I just need to clean some of the grease of my fingers from here. I don't know if it will help to keep the rust away from the parts or not, or if they will rust faster. But yeah, maybe I'll put some alcohol and clean the grease. Of course, I'm not using alcohol on the lenses because this kind of alcohol is very strong on plastics. Okay, so I think this thing is fixed and working. I was afraid about the autofocus mechanism because, yeah, you know, that other video that I have, that the autofocus mechanism was really not reacting. This one is reacting well. So now what needs to be fixed is the timer mechanism. Let's 3D model a new part and 3D print it to make the timer of this camera work again. Let's go. Nice. Now we have the glass. All this old glue is giving us trouble to reassemble the glass. Yeah, it's in place, but it's not secure. I'm just afraid that super glue would leave some residues. This ultra unique usually doesn't. Let's hope the glass sticks correctly and it doesn't give us any defects on the plastics or on the glass. And let's see if it holds the glass in place for us to reassemble the rest of the machine. I don't know what kind of white gunk this thing is. Yeah. Well, let's see if it's glued. So yeah, it's held in place. Looking nice, no trouble, no white parts. Let's go, clean everything and reassemble. So it seems like this fix is not over yet, because here on the timer switch is very sensitive. Every little touch that I give to the lever will activate it, and sometimes it doesn't deactivate and the machine gets stuck in timer mode. So I tried to make these two contacts to have more strength between them, but I can't because they are close together in an injected part, and if I move one, the other moves, and yeah, they both go in the same direction and I can't increase the strength between them. So what I'll do is grab a piece of plastic and make like a plastic spring to be behind this contact, and to give it a bit more extra strength to send it back to the original position where there's no timing activated. So I need to make two locating holes for these two posts that are here, and a third hole for the screw. And in order to do that on this piece of plastic, I'm going to use my soldering iron. So let's try to do this in a quick way. I'll just make some quick marks. Just to be sure more or less where to put my holes. So, conical shape. Let's drill the holes, make them a bit larger, and let's see if it fits. Perfect. Nice. Now we put it way down and put this thing over it like this. And I don't think there will be space. Or maybe I will need a thinner plastic. Oh, come on. Well, well, well. So, as you can see, now there's a springy layer of plastic against that part. Let's see if the continuity doesn't fail that often. Okay, it will require extra strength to break the continuity. So let's see if this will fix our issue. I hope it will, because I'm tired of taking this thing apart. And you know, every time we take it apart and put it back in, just a bit more wear and tear on the pieces. And that can be problematic. I'll just cut the excess off here. Okay, let's see if this works. So, normal mode, timer mode. Yes. If I remove, it will shoot right away. So yeah, that piece is old and it needs a bit more strength to keep its function. So I think now it's problem fixed. Okay, it was the flash charging. Come on, where's the light? Light is on. Timer with flash. Oh, I'm going to get blind. Yeah. Can't see anything. We are done with that. Hallelujah. And I'm still going to improve this a little bit, just to improve this final position without this slack. So yeah, the version available online will have this thing corrected, and that's it. Let's go. So I grabbed the camera, I tested it, I gave it a full complete roll of film. In the end, it rewinded completely, and this is the result. So everything is working perfectly, and autofocus is working, rewind is working, flash is working, the timer is also working, and it's with a nice solid feel. Yeah, everything is perfect, and I'm very happy with the results. So, time to wrap things up. Yay! This time we were very lucky and we could fix everything on our L35AF from Nikon. Very nice machine. This one was sent from a viewer from the Netherlands. He really likes this machine and I'm very glad to fix it and to send it back in full working condition. So the 3D printed part, the 3D model for the 3D printed part of the timer that's working very nicely will be available in Cults for a small fee. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope I didn't get too much shots out of focus or with bad lighting. Sometimes it happens. Yeah, I'm an amateur doing this. So the only thing left for me to say is thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!